My name is Alex Rohan. I served with 82nd Airborne Division from 2016 to 2019. Got out as a specialist with a medical discharge after a couple jumps and returned home from Afghanistan. I wanted to figure out who I was in the world. I grew up as a military brat, and I always felt like it was a forced destiny for me to join the military. And I really was rebellious against the idea of just doing that because my parents wanted me to do so. So I left my parents' house. I was forced to leave my parents' house at about 16, and from there till about 21, just wanted to figure out who I was. At first, I wanted to go through and become a police officer. And then I tried this, I tried that. When I turned 21, I finally felt just who I wanted to be as a man. So I decided to join the army from there, and that's why I just finding my way in life, my journey, and see what direction it would put me. And I think it did pretty well for me. Damn, that's a good question. I think mental strength comes down to a lot of things. I think it comes down, and this is strictly speaking as my experience as a leader, but also a follower. Today, present, past, in the military, outside the military. I think mental strength comes down to making decisions that are good for the people that follow you, people that look up to you, even if it doesn't benefit you. Being in the army as a lower enlisted, I constantly dealt with leadership making decisions that only benefited them but had a negative impact on me in my career. I can't tell you how many times I was screwed over by someone else's decision. So I knew eventually when I became a leader, and I was only got out as a specialist, but I had a leadership role for a good while. I remember making decisions that forced myself to go into a situation with more work to do, but it benefited my Joes. Same thing as a business owner now, I make decisions that benefit my team. There's nothing wrong with making decisions that benefit you as an individual, but when it comes to combat related, not combat related, I think decisions can be hard or easy. I think it depends on who you are as a person. So for me, my mental strength to help me make more clear decisions once I got out of the military. Advice is a hard thing for me to give because I speak advice for action, if that makes sense. I apply action that might guide people. When I got out of the military, I was really depressed. I was trying to figure out who I wanted to be because I thought the army was going to help me figure out who I wanted to be, but it didn't. It helped me put myself in the right direction. So the advice I would give is find out something you love and apply yourself to do so. That's what I did when I got the army. I tried the whole like 9 months of just not doing anything. And I figured out real quick, like, dude, I hate this. I hate not doing anything. I was bored. I tried going to school. School wasn't for me. So I found something that I love, and that's dog training. And personally, I just spent a long time on the road by myself and my German Shepherd living in a Tahoe. I loved it. Looking back on those days, like I think about it all the time. I'm happy with where my life is now, but my advice would be find something that you love, dig into it, and then when you're ready to talk about it, I think you should talk about it. It took me a long time to just even talk about my emotions, my depression, my anger at the time. Um, I really broke out into that conversation with somebody when I finally met my wife. When she was my girlfriend, we were just talking. So I think biggest advice is don't force yourself to talk about a situation. I think a lot of people force it on to veterans. Just find out what you want to do in life. There's something you want to do. When you find it, work it, do it, fall in love with it, and then talk about it when you're ready. The biggest challenge transitioning away, the camaraderie. It's still an issue for me, to be honest with you. I um I served with dudes that I loved, that I still love. Lost dudes that I loved, still love them. One of my bestest friends ever in the world, Andy Goodwin, he took his life when I was in, and it ruined me. Even nowadays, I just married my wife last year, and he was supposed to be my best man. So, obviously, couldn't be, but getting out, finding camaraderie was the hardest thing to do. And I tried going to veteran organizations. I tried going to groups, and there was nothing wrong with them. That's just not how I am as an individual. I ended up finding out I don't need camaraderie. I'm happy with who I am, and that's a very individual. I make friends when necessary, but I don't need friends. I'm happy doing my work. I have I have my best friend is my wife. So getting out, that was my biggest difficulty, was finding out who I wanted to surround myself with, and I figured it out a long time ago. ultimately, I think it could technically be a couple different missions. I don't have like a life mission. I mean, I do. Um, I don't know how to answer that. I guess I'll just answer it like what missions I do have. One, so I'm a young entrepreneur. My goal for my career is to make it to where I can work, but continuously work happy. You know, with even being a dog trainer, it sounds like an awesome job, but there's so many highs and lows. But I want to make it very successful because the people I do care about, I want to make sure are set up for success more than just telling a dog to sit. You know, I want to help these people reach their goals. I have one dude who wants to grow into like a YouTube or social media star like other dog trainers. I want to help him get that. I don't care for it. You know, secondly, I want to make sure the brand that I own and um, partner with can have a more national following. And then above all, the most important thing is to take care of me, myself, and my soon-to-be child. Growing up, I didn't have anything like I don't have anything passed down to me. My wife doesn't have anything passed down to her. I didn't have like, oh, when my parents die, I'm not getting $100,000. I'm not getting any of this shit. I don't have like a business. My bad. I'm trying not to curse. So I want to make sure one day when my kid grows up, if you want the option to not go out into the real world and deal with the scary stuff that I dealt with as a kid, I want to make sure you have that option. And right now, it's looking like that. So that's my goal. Sorry, that was so hard for me to answer. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, is that good? Perfect. I'm like, how do I answer this one? I thought 2 months ago I knew what kind of man I wanted to be. After finding my wife, after finding out my wife was pregnant, I was like, I know what kind of man I want to be. But when I saw that freaking heartbeat, which was like a week ago, it hit me right there. Like I know for a fact now what kind of man I want to be. I'm surrounding myself with like-minded men. I want to surround myself with people that my kid can look up to. And I know for a fact, I know a lot of people who I'm not going to let my kids surround themselves with. So, as my biggest mission, I guess, would probably be the man that I want my kid to look up to, boy or girl. So that's probably my biggest motivator, which there's a lot of parents' motivators. What I share. But I guess the biggest thing is, you know, there's a lot of emotions that service members go through that you can't see. Like me, I'm not one to broadcast my emotions. When I'm in a bad mood, you wouldn't know it. I just put my head down and I grind. But there might be one simple thing that sets me off, and you would have no idea. And it's not a reflection as me as a human being. It's just I don't know how to handle my emotions like that. So I recently have been working on them in the last 6 months a lot. So now when I'm emotional, I can talk to her, I can talk to my employees, and my employees all understand. Like, hey man, I don't mean to be blunt. I'm just in a really bad mood today. It's not me being bad or mean to you. I'm trying to figure it out. So I think from a family's perspective, have a little bit of patience. If you see a service member who is quiet, probably doesn't want to be talked to because he doesn't know how to control what's in his thought process right now. I've seen it multiple times where buddies are sitting there looking straight, not ignoring their wife. They're just going through something on their own, PTSD, emotional thought. Everybody's different, but I guess have a little bit of patience with your spouse, your partner, your buddy, whoever it is that you know is a service member. And for the service member, I understand it. I've been there myself, but you also have to keep in mind like I need to try to better myself. If I don't, I won't ever reach that level of success that I want to be as a human being. I think it's good for a lot of reasons. You guys said it earlier. There's different eras of war. There's different eras of service. I know dudes who were these bad mamma jammas, and then I know dudes who never deployed, and it doesn't mean your sense of service isn't or wasn't important just because you didn't deploy. And it doesn't mean you don't deal with emotional things that veterans deal with all the time. So I think it's important for people to understand that. Uh, yeah, that's my biggest thing. I'm not one to talk down on somebody like, oh, you didn't deploy, coward. I'm not like that. That's not who I am. But I know plenty of dudes, and you've seen plenty of them in your life who talk down on other service members because they do an admin job or they're this or they're that. Cool. They still answered the call when the dude at college who's a 5-star quarterback didn't. In reality, this dude would probably beat your ass. Sorry, homie. The typewriter in the army probably gonna destroy you in a fight. So you can't say anything. So that's my viewpoint. I hate bullies. This is what it comes to. I hate bullies, and I dealt with a lot of that. Just, oh, you did this. Yeah, but when I did this, I also did this. Okay, so you're cool. No, I was cool before that. Sorry, Schmojo. My name is Alex Rohan, and this is my story.